Ministry of Government and Consumer Services. Changes to file corporation initial return and notice of change for domestic and foreign corporation. To file an initial return or notice of change under the Corporations Information Act, CIA, the extra-provincial corporations listed below must complete this form. A corporation incorporated outside the province of Ontario, a corporation incorporated federally, or a foreign non-profit corporation complete an initial return to obtain an Ontario Corporation Number, OCN. The initial return filing for these corporations serve as a registration in Ontario. If you already filed an initial return and have obtained an OCN, file a notice of change to make any changes to the information previously reported with the ministry. For example, if there is a change in the corporation's name, governing jurisdiction, NAICS business activity code, registered or head office address, commenced or ceased activity in Ontario, chief officer or manager, and administrative information, for example, official email address. A notice of change must be filed within 15 days after the change take place. Information you need. Before completing this form, please make sure that you have the following information ready. If you are filing a notice of change, you require the information for items 5 to 14 only if this is new information or you are making changes to this information. If you are not changing the information for these items, leave the fields blank. 1. Administrative information for the contact person, name, telephone number and email address. This will not be shown on the public record. 2. Incorporation/amalgamation date. 3. Ontario Corporation Number, OCN, if this is for a notice of change. 4. Company key, if this is for a notice of change. This is the 9-digit number provided by the ministry that establishes authority over the corporation. 5. Corporation name. 6. Governing jurisdiction. 7. Incorporating document and/or any amendments to it, issued by an official or public body of the governing jurisdiction. Please attach this with your filing, if required. 8. Commenced activity in Ontario, if applicable. 9. Ceased activity in Ontario, if applicable. 10. North American Industry Classification System, NAICS, Primary Activity Code. 11. Official email address for the corporation. 12. Registered or head office address. 13. Principal place of business in Ontario, if any. 14. Chief officer or manager in Ontario, if any. 15. Person certifying. Completing the form. Filing type. Select whether this filing is for an initial return or notice of change. Corporation type. Select the corporation type from the drop-down list. Extra-provincial domestic corporation with share. Extra-provincial domestic corporation non-share. Extra-provincial federal corporation with share. Extra-provincial federal corporation non-share. Extra-provincial foreign corporation non-share. Contact information. Please enter the full name, telephone number and email address of the contact person. This will not be shown on the public record. The ministry will contact this person for any questions related to this filing. Jurisdiction. If this is for an initial return, indicate your response to the question: has the corporation previously been registered in Ontario? By selecting yes or no. If yes, enter the corporation name or OCN. Indicate the governing jurisdiction where the corporation was formed. Incorporation/amalgamation date. Indicate the date the corporation was incorporated, or if it was previously amalgamated, indicate the amalgamation date. Indicate whichever is the most current date. Corporation name? Indicate the name of the corporation as it appeared on the original incorporation document from the governing jurisdiction, or if there has been a name change, the name as it appears on the most recent document changing the name. Commenced activity in Ontario. If this filing is for an initial return, indicate when the corporation commenced activity in Ontario. If this filing is for a notice of change and the corporation has not previously reported the date the corporation commenced activity in Ontario, indicate it here. Otherwise, leave this blank. Ceased activity in Ontario. If the corporation ceased to carry on business in Ontario, indicate the date the corporation ceased activity. Primary activity code. If this filing is for an initial return, indicate the primary activity of the corporation. If this filing is for a notice of change and the primary activity is being changed, indicate the new primary activity code, otherwise, leave this blank. Your primary activity indicates the business the corporation intends to carry on in Ontario. Please refer to the list of primary activities from the NAICS that best describes your primary activity and then indicate your primary activity code from the link in this form. Official email address. If this filing is for an initial return, indicate the official email address of the corporation. If this filing is for a notice of change and the official email address is being changed, indicate the new official email, otherwise, leave this blank. Registered or head office address. If this filing is for an initial return, indicate the registered or head office address of the corporation. If this filing is for a notice of change and the registered or head office address is being changed, indicate the new registered or head office address, otherwise, leave this blank. The address of the registered or head office of the corporation must be set out in full, including the street name, street or rural road number, municipality, province, country and the postal code or zip code. A post office box alone is not an acceptable address. If there is no street and number, indicate the lot and concession or lot and plan numbers. If you have an international address and the region field is not applicable to you, please enter parish, county or any other equivalent information in the region field. This also applies to any other international address in the form. Principal place of business. If this filing is for an initial return, indicate the principal place of business of the corporation, if any. If this filing is for a notice of change and the principal place of business address is being changed, indicate the new one, otherwise, leave this blank. The address must be set out in full, including the street name, street or rural road number, municipality, province, country and the postal code. A post office box alone is not an acceptable address. If there is no street and number, indicate the lot and concession or lot and plan numbers. The principal place of business must be in Ontario. Chief Officer or Manager in Ontario. Initial return. If this filing is for an initial return, provide the information for the Chief Officer or Manager in Ontario, if any. Notice of change. Indicate your response to the question, does the corporation have a Chief Officer or Manager in Ontario? By selecting yes or no. If yes, please provide the full name and address for service of the individual. If no, and you had already provided a Chief Officer or Manager, this individual will no longer be shown as Chief Officer or Manager in Ontario. Certification. Please indicate whether the person certifying is a director, officer or an individual, who has been authorized by the directors of the corporation to verify the return or notice and who has knowledge of the affairs of the corporation. If the person certifying is a director, indicate the full name. If the person certifying is an officer, indicate the full name. If the person certifying is an individual authorized by the directors, indicate the full name. You must select the checkbox to confirm that this person has certified that this filing is true, correct and complete. Submitting the form. Once you have completed the form, print it, attach all supporting documents and mail it to the Ministry at the address below. Ministry of Government and Consumer Services, Central Production and Verification Services Branch, 393 University Avenue, Suite 200, Toronto, Ontario M5G2M2.